The story you are about to hear is one of the most audacious and baffling in criminal history, a tale that has perplexed investigators and captivated the public for half a century. It's the story of a man who seemingly vanished into thin air, leaving behind an enduring legend and an unsolved mystery. It was Thanksgiving Eve 1971. Aboard a Boeing 727, making its way through the cloudy skies from Portland to Seattle, a man known only as Dan Cooper sat quietly in his seat. He was unremarkable in appearance, a man in his mid-40s, dressed in a dark business suit, white shirt, and a black tie. As he smoked a Rollie cigarette and sipped a bourbon and soda, nothing about him suggested the chaos he was about to unleash. As the plane soared through the afternoon sky, Cooper handed a folded note to a flight attendant, Florence Schaffner. Thinking it was just another passenger's phone number, she slipped it into her pocket, unopened. Seeing this, Cooper leaned closer. "Miss," he said calmly, "you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Schaffner's professional composure masked a wave of shock as she read the neatly printed words. At his request, she sat beside him. He opened his briefcase just enough for her to see a terrifying arrangement of wires and red sticks, confirming his quiet threat was deadly serious. Schaffner immediately relayed the chilling message to the cockpit. The pilots, maintaining a facade of calm for the other passengers, radioed the authorities on the ground, setting in motion a high-stakes drama at 30,000 feet. The aircraft landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport under the cloak of an anxious dusk. On the tarmac, a tense exchange unfolded. Authorities delivered a bag containing $200,000 in unmarked $20 bills, equivalent to over $1 million today, and 4 parachutes, just as Cooper had demanded. Once his demands were met, he allowed all 36 passengers and 2 crew members to disembark, a gesture of strange courtesy in the midst of a hijacking. With only a skeleton crew remaining, the plane was refueled. Under Cooper's direction, it took off again, ascending into a stormy, pitch-black night, its new destination set for Mexico City. Cooper then instructed the remaining crew to gather in the cockpit and stay there. Alone in the main cabin, he lowered the rear air stair of the 727. With the wind howling and the temperature far below freezing, he secured the money bag to his body, walked to the edge of the stairs, and leaped into the raging darkness over the rugged wilderness of southwestern Washington. What followed was one of the most extensive and expensive manhunts in U.S. history. The FBI, aided by the military, scoured the dense, unforgiving forest, but found no trace of the hijacker or his parachute. For years, the case grew cold. Then in 1980, a young boy on a family vacation found 3 decaying bundles of $20 bills buried in the sandy banks of the Columbia River. The serial numbers matched the ransom money. It was the only concrete evidence ever recovered, deepening the mystery rather than solving it. Was he a master criminal who made a clean getaway, or did he perish in his daring jump? To this day, the case officially remains open, his true identity and ultimate fate lost to the winds of that stormy night, cementing his status as one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. In November 1970, a hiker ventured into the remote, icy expanse of Norway's Isdal Valley, a place chillingly nicknamed Death Valley. As he explored the desolate landscape, he stumbled upon a scene of unimaginable horror. There, nestled between secluded rocks, lay the partially burned body of a woman. The air was thick with the smell of smoke and mystery. Investigators arriving at the grim location found a bizarre collection of objects scattered around her. A dozen pink sleeping pills, 2 bottles that smelled of gasoline, a silver spoon, and the charred remnants of a passport, its identity consumed by the flames. The scene was meticulously arranged, almost ritualistic, setting the stage for one of Europe's most enduring enigmas. The first major break in the case came from the Bergen train station. Police discovered 2 suitcases left in a luggage locker, which they quickly linked to the deceased woman. Prying them open, they didn't find answers, but rather a series of calculated deceptions. Inside was a curated collection of wigs, several pairs of non-prescription glasses meant to alter her appearance, and a cryptic diary filled with coded notes. The most unsettling discovery was that every single label from her clothing had been painstakingly cut away. This wasn't just a woman traveling, this was a woman actively erasing her own existence, a ghost determined to leave no trace of who she was or where she came from. This trail of carefully constructed anonymity only deepened the mystery. The police, working tirelessly, managed to break the code in her diary. It wasn't a personal journal, but a meticulous log of her travels. The entries revealed a journey across Europe, with stops in various cities, all under different names. Investigators retraced her steps, interviewing hotel staff and shopkeepers who remembered her. Their descriptions painted a consistent picture, a sophisticated, well-dressed woman who spoke multiple languages fluently, including German, French, Flemish, and English. She had used at least 8 distinct aliases, each with a corresponding forged passport. Composite sketches were drawn up and distributed internationally through Interpol, but the response was a deafening silence. No one, not family, not friends, not colleagues, came forward to claim her. The evidence was mounting, pointing to a chilling possibility. Was this woman a spy, caught in a deadly game of Cold War espionage? Despite the international manhunt and the strange collection of clues, the case eventually grew cold. The official investigation concluded with a ruling of probable suicide, suggesting she had taken an overdose of sleeping pills and set herself on fire. However, this conclusion satisfied almost no one. The positioning of her body, the presence of gasoline, and her hypervigilant efforts to erase her identity strongly suggested foul play. To this day, the Isdal Woman remains a ghost. Her true name, her purpose, and the reasons for her secretive final journey are locked away, buried under layers of aliases and unanswered questions. Decades later, she's still the woman without a name, her face known only through composite sketches that flicker and fade. Her story, an unresolved symphony of espionage, mystery, and death. Have you ever heard of a story so strange, so unsettling, that it blurs the line between reality and nightmare? This isn't just another ghost story. This is a tale etched into the history of a small town, a legend born from fear and tragedy. Today, we journey back to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to uncover the chilling mystery of the Mothman. Our story begins on a desolate country road, late on the night of November 15th, 1966. 2 young couples were driving near an abandoned World War II TNT plant, a place already steeped in eerie silence. Suddenly, their headlights caught something unimaginable standing by the roadside. It was a looming man-sized figure, but its most terrifying features were the massive wings folded against its back and 2 enormous glowing red eyes that stared back at them from the darkness. Pure terror seized them, and they sped away, flooring the gas pedal. But the nightmare wasn't over. As they looked back, the creature was airborne, its huge wingspan effortlessly keeping pace with their car as it reached speeds of over 100 miles per hour, its hypnotic red eyes fixed on them until they finally reached the town limits. News of the terrifying encounter spread like wildfire. The local newspaper quickly dubbed the creature the Mothman, and the name stuck. Soon, the story of the 2 couples was no longer an isolated incident. Over the next 13 months, the town of Point Pleasant was gripped by a wave of fear as sightings mounted. Dozens of credible witnesses, from local firefighters to seasoned pilots, came forward with their own chilling encounters. They all described the same thing: a large winged humanoid with piercing hypnotic red eyes. The sightings were often accompanied by other bizarre phenomena. People reported hearing strange, metallic shrieking sounds from the sky, seeing unexplainable lights dancing above the woods, and even being visited by mysterious men in black who warned them to stop talking about what they had seen. A palpable sense of dread settled over the entire community. Something was deeply wrong in Point Pleasant. The creeping anxiety that had plagued the town for over a year was about to culminate in a horrific tragedy. On December 15, 1967, during the evening rush hour, the Silver Bridge connecting Point Pleasant to Ohio was packed with cars full of Christmas shoppers and commuters. Suddenly, a deafening crack echoed across the river. The massive suspension bridge began to shudder violently. In a matter of seconds, a critical eye-bar chain failed, causing a catastrophic chain reaction. The entire structure twisted and collapsed, plunging dozens of cars and their occupants into the freezing, dark waters of the Ohio River. 46 people lost their lives in the disaster. In the aftermath, a disturbing detail emerged. Several witnesses came forward claiming they had seen the Mothman perched on the bridge's superstructure just moments before it gave way. After the horrific collapse of the Silver Bridge, the sightings of the Mothman ceased as abruptly as they had begun. The creature, which had haunted the skies of Point Pleasant for 13 months, simply vanished. This sudden disappearance left behind a haunting and unanswered question that forms the core of the legend. Was the Mothman a malevolent entity? Its appearance a direct cause of the tragedy that befell the town? Or was it something else entirely? A supernatural harbinger, a messenger from another realm, desperately trying to warn the people of the impending doom it could foresee? We may never know the truth, but the story of the red-eyed creature and the fallen bridge has become an indelible part of American folklore. A chilling reminder that some mysteries are not meant to be solved, forever binding the name Point Pleasant to one of the nation's most profound and terrifying supernatural enigmas. History is filled with chilling mysteries, but few have captured the public's imagination quite like the gruesome tale of a killer who stalked the dimly lit streets of Victorian London. His name, whispered in fear and fascination, has echoed through the generations. This is the story of the hunt for the man they called Jack the Ripper. The year is 1888. In the heart of London's impoverished Whitechapel district, a palpable sense of dread descends with the autumn fog. Gaslights cast long, dancing shadows down narrow cobblestone alleys where a sinister figure in a long coat and top hat begins his reign of terror. An unprecedented wave of fear grips the city as a brutal, methodical killer starts preying on the vulnerable women of the East End, leaving a trail of unimaginable carnage. The city's newspapers, with their sensational headlines, fan the flames of panic. Each new edition announces another grisly murder, accompanied by illustrations of grim-faced Victorian police officers looking overwhelmed by the horror confronting them. The Autumn of Terror has begun. In response to the escalating crisis, Scotland Yard mobilizes one of the largest manhunts in its history. Hordes of constables patrol the labyrinthine streets, while top detectives like Inspector Frederick Aberline are brought in to lead the investigation. They meticulously examine crime scenes, looking for any clue, no matter how small, and conduct thousands of interviews with terrified residents, witnesses, and potential suspects. But the killer is as elusive as a phantom. Just as the investigation seems to be hitting a dead end, the murderer begins a brazen and terrifying correspondence. Letters, claiming to be from the killer and mockingly signed Jack the Ripper, arrive at news agencies and the police. The most infamous of these, the From Hell letter, is sent with a small box containing half of a human kidney, believed to belong to one of his victims. This horrifying act creates a media frenzy, turning public panic into outrage as the police appear utterly powerless, always one step behind the ghost who haunts their city. The killer's audacity reaches its terrifying peak on the night of September 30th, 1888. In a shocking display of contempt for the law, The Ripper murders two women, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, within the same hour. This double event sends shockwaves through London. In the aftermath of the second murder, a message is found scrawled in chalk on a wall nearby. The Jews are the men that will not be blamed for nothing. Fearing it could incite anti-Semitic riots in the already volatile district, the police commissioner orders the words to be erased before they can be photographed. The killer had seemingly vanished into the night just moments before authorities arrived. The manhunt intensifies to a fever pitch. With public suspicion falling on anyone with anatomical knowledge, the killer's surgical precision in mutilating his victims suggests he could be a doctor, a surgeon, or even a butcher. Following a final, exceptionally gruesome murder in November, the killings abruptly cease. Jack the Ripper vanishes from the streets of Whitechapel as mysteriously as he had first appeared, leaving behind only 5 canonical victims and a city forever scarred by his crimes. The years turn into decades, and the case grows cold, but the legend only grows stronger. Countless theories emerge, and a long list of suspects is compiled, ranging from obscure doctors and common criminals to members of the royal family. Yet none of the theories have ever been definitively proven. The identity of Jack the Ripper remains the most famous unsolved mystery in the annals of criminal history. He is a ghost forged in fog and fear, a shadowy figure who continues to haunt the dark corners of Victorian London and the imagination of the world.